So then, good morning. It's actually good afternoon. It's just before 1 o'clock, so late start today, just potted around this morning. It's only a short one, 6 kilometres today. I'm just parked up at Port Hill car park, which is behind me at the foot of Cox Tor, which you can see there over my shoulder. And we're going to do, I think, about 11 tars, say, short one, 6 kilometres. Proutytown Rocks is number 1 on the list today. Hoping to get the drone up, but a little bit windy, so I think it's borderline. But this area, it's a shame it's quite busy. You do get a lot of people around here. It's quite easily accessible, but it is lovely. Really, really lovely place. You can see over behind me there, you can see right into Cornwall, Kit Hill, Carradon, over towards Cheesering Quarry. Say behind me, that's Cox Tor. And then just over that hill, you've got the Staple Tors, Great Miss. So there's a lot around here, and we've got a really, really cool one today, which I've not been to actually. I've been to a lot of these, but not this particular one. Sampford Tor, which is down in behind Pew Tor. It's massively quarried, so in terms of Tor, that's gone. But it looks like a mini Fogging Tor with a bit of a lake there. So let's get cracking. Really looking forward to that one. Really looking forward to it. Okay, so this is Proutytown Rocks, first tars of today, and it's really cool. It's not really big, but it kind of reminds me of like a mini Dartmoor's version of Giant's Causeway, if you see what I mean. But yeah, I really like this one actually. Really like this. So just while we're walking to Barnhill Rocks, I thought I'd explain for those of you who don't know what TARS is. T-A-R-S. Tours and Rocks of Significance. They're all catalogued on the Tours of Dartmoor website, which is really good and definitely worth checking out. There's over 890 at the moment, and it's ever more growing, the list. I think I'm on about 220, so yeah, it's basically any tour or rock of significance on Dartmoor. Some of them. So here we have Barnhill Rocks. Not that impressive, but you know, it's Dartmoor, so it's cool. Anything on Dartmoor is cool. Now what is cool, you can see centre of screen there, that is Vixen Tor. That is one of the most epic tours on Dartmoor. Unfortunately, it's on private land, so we're not actually allowed to go there. But over here, we've got Heckwood Tor, Feather Tor, Pew Tor, which we're all going to today. And just down here where those people are, we have Windy Cross and the Bullseye Stone, which I shall show you now. Okay, so this is Windy Cross, aptly named because it is always windy here. Every time I've been here, it's always been windy anyway. But really cool. It's the crosses, loads of crosses on Dartmoor, and they're route markers, way markers. So you've got the Abbott's Way, amongst many others that used to link the different abbeys. You got Bucklands, you got Buckfast-Lee, you got Tavistock. And they're all linked across the moors, and these are like way markers. They reckon they date from between 900 AD and 1500 AD. This particular one, though, apparently it was replaced in the 1600s. So yeah, pretty cool. It's a hexagonal shape. The actual column, which is nice but different. There's also something else really cool here, which I will show you now. So there's Grimstone and Saltridge leat. Obviously loads of leats on Dartmoor. This is one of many. But you can see here, the leat comes from that direction and runs down here, and that is the main watercourse going off down yonder. But they wanted to divert some to another property here. You can see the fork. Now, the problem was, obviously, water does what it wants to do unless you control it. And so to do that, they very cleverly installed what is known as the Bullseye Stone. Just a rock with a hole in it to control the exact amount of water that passes into this secondary leat. How cool is that? Way back in the day, that's pretty clever, pretty clever. And so here, boys and girls, we have Feather Tor. So I think that's, what, 4 today already or something? On to Pew Tor next. Feather Tor is not that impressive, but it's a TARS nonetheless. You can see the mist is rolling in a bit. Hopefully that stays off and the wind dies and we get the drone up when we get to Sampford Tor. But yeah, on to Sampford Tor next. And here we have Sampford Tor. Sampford Tor is actually a pretty impressive lump. Really good vantage point as well. If you look over here, you've got King's Tor, and then background Cock's Tor. That in the middle, you would be able to see great mist, but it's covered in mist, so you can't. You can see down into Cornwall, there's Cock's Tor. You've got Brent Tor in the background there. So yeah, really cool place. I just started raining though. So yeah, here's the backside of Sampford Tor. Let's say a pretty impressive lump of rock. It's just started raining. I was hoping to fly the drone here. Unfortunately, it's not going to happen in the rain, and it is gusting a little bit. But now, so off to Sampford Tor, which is the jewel of today. So this is Sampford Tor, and you can see it's absolutely shattered and scattered. Years and years of quarrying. It absolutely destroyed the Tor, which is of course really angering. But I mean, you see some bits of concrete there, you know, from human machinery. But there is one thing, and this is kind of bittersweet. Look at that. How cool. Now that, like I say, it's bittersweet. It's caused by man destroying the Tor, which is obviously really sad. But the way nature's taken that back over and turned it into this little oasis is pretty spectacular. So yeah, that's the one we was looking forward to today, and did not disappoint. Right, okay, so here's Sampford Tor Cottage, just down at the foot of Sampford Tor on the east side. But there is another tars over that way called Duel Rock. Unfortunately, it's on private land and it's 500 metres away. I think it's going to be down into the valley a bit there. So we're unable to go to it and unable to see it, which is a shame. It's the closest we can get to that one. So on that note, while we're walking to Little Heckwood Tor, which is our next one, that last one, Duel Rock's on private land. There's a lot of tars on private land. If you're going to bag them, like I am, I'm trying to anyway, we're getting there. Don't go on private land. It's tempting, it's really tempting, especially some cool tours. Like we've got Vixen Tor coming up in a minute. It is so epic. I climb as well and it just looks so good for climbing. Very tempting to do it. Don't do it. Because with what's going on with the Darboes and stuff at the moment, I'm hoping that they are just an isolated, selfish pair of idiots. But there could well be more landowners like it, so don't give them excuses. Do not poke the bear. Stay on land that you're allowed to be on. Don't go on private land. Well done. So we just walked up the track from Sampford Tor Cottage. There's Sampford Tor, you can see up on top of the hill. Now, Little Heckwood Tor is what we're after. By grid reference, I'm here. You can see there's a boundary stone there, which is clearly on the map. At pretty much a grid reference. And there's a bit of a scattering of rocks. But say by grid reference, this is Little Heckwood Tor. Come off of the track from where the boundary stone was, and I think I know what's happened here. So Little Heckwood Tor, there's lots of these pits everywhere. Not natural, certainly not natural. There's clitter or broken rock scattered around everywhere, and this area was very, very heavily mined. So I'm going to say Little Heckwood Tor is unfortunately probably been destroyed by stonecutters in the past, stealing its granite, which is an awful shame, an awful shame. So going back to what I was saying earlier about quarrying, I think that's just been confirmed. You see this rock here, it's obviously quite an unnatural shape, but if you look closely, you can see here, 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 and so on. Those are marks. I believe the technique was called tear and feathering or something, but it's how they used to split the rock. So yeah, this area, like so many others, was quarried. What is wrong with man? Why do we just feel the need to destroy everything that's beautiful and nice? Let's find a really nice place and destroy it for greed, for money. Yeah, absolutely despicable. But here is Heckwood Tor, and now we're going down to have a look. Hopefully we're going to see it over the walls, another private one called Rough Tor next. Then we have Vixen Tor. which is epic, absolutely epic. So yeah, we'll get to that one now. So just while I'm up here, the mist is just cleared a bit, so I thought I'd give you a little bit of a show round. Obviously that's down south, back towards Plymouth, a lovely place that it is. Up here you've got Ingra Tor, you've got Leiden Tor, then round you've got Swell Tor, King's Tor, round. We have Little Miss and Great Miss, and round a bit further we have that's Great Staple Tor. Obviously in the picture as well you've got Middle Staple and Little Staple, and just poking over the top of Heckwood Tor, that is Cox Tor. And I don't know if you've seen it when I panned round, here is Vixen Tor. How amazing is that? I say climber's dream. Unfortunately on private land, but let's go and get as close as we can, shall we? Just on the way to Vixen Tor, the private one that I mentioned, just there, centre of screen, that's Rough Tor. You can get a bit closer obviously to the wall, can't go on the wall, it's private, but this is the best view from it. So yeah, Rough Tor. Okay, so there you go, Vixen Tor. Just up and behind it there is Little Vixen Tor as well, which is, it's a bit of a weird one. It's on common land, marks common land on the map, but it's in like a little pocket of common land. It's surrounded by private land. So to get to the common land, you'd have to cross private land, which I can't figure out, but I'm not going to go there because it's crossing private land anyway. But yeah, Vixen Tor. Now there's a little story about Vixen Tor. The witch Vixana, she used to live up there many a moon ago, and she used to bring a mist down on travellers that were going across the moors, get them all lost and confused, and they'd end up then walking into her tarn, or lake, at the foot of Vixen Tor, where they'd be taken beneath the waters into a chamber, and they'd have to work digging gold and jewels. And they had goblins as foremen that used to whip them if they weren't working hard enough, which they never thought they were, so they were constantly whipping them. And oh, a hellish life it was, until one day a noble knight, pure of heart, came along, and he slain Vixana and saved all of the poor folk that were under the lake. They were all released and lived happily ever after. Yeah, cool, eh? Right, so that is the rain coming in a bit more properly now. I don't know if you can make it out, but it's starting to get a bit heavier. So that was the last highs of the day anyway. Hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe. Those people watch the videos and don't subscribe. Subscribe, please. And yeah, see you next time. Hopefully better weather, and we'll get the drone out. Cheers for now.